I found learning about this method really, really interesting in my personal grief journey. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I am not gonna lie, your girl is super low energy today, but I did have an idea of what I wanted to do for today's episode, so it's gonna be a little shorter than normal, but let's get it popping. So we're gonna go through Kübler-Ross's method of the 5 stages of grief. Now, towards the end of the video, I'm gonna give a little bit more of my thoughts. I might even do my own video of the 5 stages of grief, more of my reactions to it, but I'm just providing you information that someone who is a little bit more sciencey than me came up with. First one is going to be denial. The second one is going to be anger. The third one is bargaining. The fourth one is depression, and the fifth one is reckoning or acceptance. And this is, again, very specific to the Kübler-Ross model of oh my goodness, of grief, death, and dying. And you know, something that I've said a lot on this channel is that grief is a very individualized experience. First, denial. Denial, put simply, is the rejection that anything has happened. For me personally, I know this manifested itself in, oh no, she's just at the store, or let me look at my phone, maybe she'll text me back. So this is what denial looks like. It is when the griever is distancing themselves from whatever happened to them. The second phase is going to be anger. Anger is just a really strong feeling of frustration. It's so hard to define anger. I don't think I've had to define anger in a while, but it's a very strong feeling of frustration and a feeling of immobility, actually, and having lack of agency in what's going on, because people who are grieving don't have the control. They don't have the ability to control what's going on right now. Bargaining can look differently for different people. I know for some grievers, it's like, oh, if I do this, then maybe they'll be able to come back. And I know I'm a person of faith, and for me, it was like, okay, how can I negotiate with God to like make sense of this? Like, what can I do to you to get back with what I lost? And this fourth stage is depression, and I would describe depression in this instance as just a prolonged sadness. You are in your feelings. This might manifest itself in crying. This might manifest itself in distancing. This might look like trying to stay away from people. Like, there are a lot of ways depression exhibits itself in grief. The fifth is acceptance, and acceptance is a holistic understanding of what's happened. Perhaps you've come to terms with it. Perhaps you can reconcile with what has happened. So those are the 5 stages. Again, to run it, there's denial, there's anger, there's bargaining, there's depression, and then there's acceptance. And again, this is very specific to the Kübler-Ross model. Okay, so I appreciated learning about this model because it gave me language to how I was feeling, right? So I could label it. Great, I don't want to talk to anyone. Must be what depression looks like. Great, I'm feeling angry today. I'm in this phase of grieving right now, so that made me feel better. However, what I learned is that grief is not this one-way thing. It's not cute, it's not perfect, and it's very individualized. And so what I found is that instead of just going through this linear model of grief, death, and dying, and what I found is that it's really circular. And I was talking to one of my college acquaintances about this, and she said that, you know, when you're going through this, you're going to notice it's a circle, but each time it's a little bit more manageable. And I remember the first cycle I went through of this, I think it was like a month in, and I was like, okay, I thought I'd accepted it, and then I could feel myself denying it again, like, no, she'll be back. And then also, I could feel myself dipping to the depression, but that's the other thing about the word. Sometimes your depression is anger, and sometimes your anger is depression. That was so true for me, because anger is not something that I feel. It's just, I don't know if it's because I'm a chill person, but I have so much, I don't know. I'm just not, anger is not something that I've ever really felt. but I did feel a lot of sadness, and I did do a lot of negotiating, right? Like, what can I do? What did I do? And yeah, and so if you do, even if you do a Google search of Kübler-Ross, you're gonna see why people don't like the model. And because there's a lack of, if you do a quick Google search of the Kübler-Ross model, you're gonna see people dragging it all over the internet. But I will say, to her credit, I feel like that was the first step in giving people the language needed to maneuver through it. Is it 100% true, empirical, that you're gonna go through this? No. I so wish that grief was that easy, but it's not. So that is my thing about the Kübler-Ross method. It did what it needed to do. It helped give me some verbiage, but it wasn't true to my journey. So again, for me, and maybe at some point I'll go through it, but for me, my journey, instead of being one line of a thing, it was very much a circle. I felt all of these feelings all of the time. Sometimes I was angry and bargaining on the same day. Other days I was accepting, and the next day I was in a depression. I felt all of these, and all of them are valid. And I think that the more grievers realize that it's okay to live in a world of both, and it's okay to feel a lot of different things at once, the better it is. I will say something else that was helpful for me, and this isn't specifically related to the Kübler-Ross model, but for me, I realized this in my negotiation bargaining stage, is that I'm someone who is a meaning maker. So that means that I have to take my grief and I have to do something with it. So that's part of the reason I have the YouTube channel. That's part of the reason I'm obsessed with to-do lists. I feel like I have to do something. So that's me. I'm a meaning maker. So I feel like I need to do stuff. But yeah, I wish grief was a 5-stage process. It's not, but it's a way to get through things, and it's helpful. So that's it. Thank you, Kübler-Ross. If you want to check out her scientific book on death and dying, I'll go ahead and put a link to it below. I have a copy of the book. I don't think I ever finished it. I wrote a paper about the intersection of Hamilton and grief and how that informed a lot of the characters, and so I have a copy of the book. I just don't know where it is, but it's somewhere. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you soon.